recovery from the...
The topic is the Narco states of West Africa, and the guest is Dr. LMadu2, who's given us some information relative to how some of the states in West Africa have moved toward becoming known as narcotic states. And of course, Dr. LMadu2, let's see if we can pick up where we left off dealing with Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, like I was saying, when General Vieira came back, in 2005, he ran for election and supposedly won, even though his opponents felt it was rigged, and became president again. Unfortunately, when he came back, the army commander, General Tagme Nawai, was antagonistic towards him. And of course, General Nawai was one of those who plotted his overthrow in 1998.
Okay.
So he wasn't happy to see him being army commander when he came back, and Nawai wasn't happy for him to come back and be president either.
Yes.
So since then, both of them have been antagonistic towards each other. And of course, while a lot of people know that the drug problem was in there, a lot of the tribal problem was also involved. The majority of the army belonged to a tribe called the Balante, which General Nawai is part of it. So eventually, this resulted in what happened early this month. Late December last year, some renegade soldiers attacked the residence of General Vieira, but luckily, he escaped. After that, he recruited a 400-man militia to guard him instead of the army. Because he didn't
go outside of the army.
Exactly. He went outside
in the army.
Exactly, and recruited a 400-man militia from his own ethnic group to guard him. Yeah. So the army got mad and said, no, you got to disband that militia, because we don't want anybody, who is not in the army carrying arms in this country. Well, that was the mistake he made. He should have kept his militia anyway, even regardless of what the army said, because he knew what was coming. At the same time, he was plotting to assassinate the army commander. Several other army commanders have been assassinated mysteriously. So early this month, the army commander came to his office and was blown up in a bomb, General Nawai. That was a Sunday evening. After this happened, most of his loyalists, felt that General Vieira was responsible for it. So early the next morning, they went and attacked the residence of President Vieira and assassinated him as a tit for tat. However, most informed observers, including diplomats and some African presidents, believe that the real cause of the both
assassination.
Both assassinations was control of the drug deal in Bissau. Who controls it? In fact, before the assassination, the Prime Minister, Mr. Carlos Correa, had made a statement publicly saying the biggest drug dealer in this country is President Vieira. And of course, after he made that statement, he quietly slipped out and took cover somewhere because he knew what was coming. That's what has brought this, attention again
to
the whole drug problem in that part of Africa. Now, full stop, move to Guinea-Conakry. Early, this year, General Lansana Conte, who is the president of Guinea, died after being in power for 24 years. Yeah, he took over power after the death of Ahmed Sékou Touré, who was the first president, of Guinea. And since then, he's been in power and refused to hand over.
24 years.
24 years in power. Had, as usual, the fraudulent elections and re-elections and all that. So when he died suddenly, I won't say suddenly, he has been sick for a while, but refused to hand over power. When he died, junior officers, led by Captain Musa Kamara, took over power. The first thing they did was open an investigation into the activities of the president, his family, and all other government officials. What they found out was that the government itself was colluding with drug dealers. His son, Ousmane Conte, came on TV. He was interviewed by reporters, even from the Associated Press, and the Reuters. Yeah, and confessed that, in fact, he has been a drug courier, you know, for the drug cartel, using the presidential planes, using diplomatic pouches, using the VIP lounge at the airport, using his own mother's residence as a place to store drugs and ship them out. In fact, he said, his first payment was $300,000. The first payment they made to him, the first time, you know, he participated. From then on, he was involved in it all through. The police chief was involved in it. You know, the police chief wasn't earning much anyway. His salary was less than $500 a month, but he was building a university. Okay. The drug chief was involved in it, confessed that he was involved in it. The intelligence chief, who's supposed to be keeping an eye on all this, was involved in it. Regular soldiers themselves said they were involved in it. The presidential guard, the guard that guards the president, was used, you know, as a guard to secure those cargo at the airport and bring them into the city, you know. So everybody was involved.
And the government was involved in the whole, the government was a drug cartel.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
That's correct. The government itself, you know, when the drug is secured by the president's own bodyguards, his own bodyguards, just like the Secret Service now securing drugs, okay, that guards the president. You know what I mean? The president knows about it. Okay, his own VIP lounge at the airport is used to store the drugs.
Walk in there and the drugs.
Exactly, over the place. His own wife's private residence, okay, was used to store these drugs. So you see how government collusion...
Now, I laugh because this is just pathetic, though.
Absolutely. That's what makes it sad. You know, that the government that's supposed to be, you know, the guardian of law and order is itself colluding with the drug cartel. You know, yeah, exactly. That's the problem. So that is exactly why the United Nations is taking a hard look at these countries, you know, and understands that the drug problem cannot be stopped in these countries because the governments themselves are participating.
That's right. The government is the cartel. Like, how can the government stop its own activity?
That's correct. The government itself in Guinea, Bissau, and Guinea-Conakry involved themselves. Okay, shift to Equatorial Guinea, the same. Even the Obiang, who's been there as the president since 1979, you know, is the same. Annobon Island, it's full of drugs. Few miles from the border from Nigeria, you know, that's a drug heaven. But Obiang turns, you know, eye somewhere else. His sons, his daughters, they're all involved in it. And it's a country that has some of the largest oil reserves in the world. Yet everybody is poor and they're using it. Exactly.
Very good. Of course, Dr. LMadu, let us take this second commercial break and get back. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. And the top